Limor, hello. Back again for another episode of Mono we Mono, episode 8. I got the episode correct this time. I got it wrong last time around. But I'm happy to say I am joined by Keith Hughes here in the Limor HQ in Drogheda, County Louth, Ireland. Very happy to have him join me. We've been planning this for quite a while. He was on this profile, I don't know how many months ago it was, just a little preview about what we were going to talk about, which you can check in the previous cast here in Limor. So I prefer to let my guests do a quick intro, who they are, where they're from, what they do. Keith, welcome to Mono we Mono.
Hi, cheers Shane for having me. I guess we spoke last August, September. I kind of documented my last couple of weeks of doing the Dublin Marathon, and maybe I fell off the bandwagon there because I was just so sore after it. But no, listen, I guess it came back up on board because I'm setting up a local Drogheda network group, and I felt this was a perfect platform to give people a chance to talk about their business, speak to each other and kind of network in a new way as such, instead of always being seen to type, I guess. So my background, my name's Keith Hughes. Born and reared, as you can hear, from in Drogheda at the moment. It's going through a bit of ups and downs, but it's like any other town or any other place in the world. It'll come back and everything will be fine again, and these things happen.
Yeah, we can touch on that I think later on for people who don't know. But
that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
But listen, I guess my background is in hedge funds and banking, and 2 years ago I have set up my own business as a financial advisor, so for life and family and business protection, sports cover, tax relief, stuff like that. And that's where I am at the moment. I think we've also, if we've time later on, we'll talk about it. I went through a small, wouldn't say small, but I went through a gambling addiction when I was younger, and I try and talk to anyone, but at the moment I'm seeing it as young males in sport is going through tough times because it seems to be part and parcel of the culture. That's probably me in the snippet.
In the snippet, and we'll get into it in more detail. The reason, there's various different reasons why I started this podcast. One is I'm changing the game with social audio and Limor, but putting it into practice as well, because I love consuming podcasts, audio content, love conversations. And with Limor I wanted to touch on my background, people involved in sport, professional sport, all that carry on, but also business, because I've transitioned from sport into business, and I feel that there's a massive correlation between the lessons and experiences you get in sport which transfer over to business. And you tick all those boxes as well, because you're massively involved in sport throughout your life, and I'm sure that those lessons are standing to you now in business.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's massive. It's anything you brought up in whether it's teamwork, whether it's goals, whether it's driven. You don't want the other person, your opposition, to get the better of you. Do you grit in and dig your teeth? Do you learn how to talk to people? Do you learn how to communicate with people, how to treat people? Yeah, I just can't believe, I think I had a conversation with a girl up in Crow Park a couple of months ago, and she was like, I'm not going to push my son to play sports.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I am. And I don't mean that in a bad way. She goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you're going to push him to go to school. So why not push them to go to sports? Because I felt sports and being locally in or at least GAA and playing underage for Loud and all that, it gave me a basis of friendship and family, which has led into business as well. And I can't see how being involved in sports is any way negative whatsoever.
No, definitely, it's a massive positive. And I've had conversations with a lot of people about that as well. And it's generally, I know it can seem a bit harsh as a word, but it stems from ignorance, because they've never been involved in sports themselves.
Exactly.
So they don't understand how powerful it is. And it's one of those things, like you always see in any movie, or rags to riches, the likes of a Rocky. What got Rocky from breaking people's thumbs, getting money, to being world champion was a sport. And all the lessons around that, and he said, it's so much more than the actual sport itself. It's the lessons of, especially team sports in particular, how to work as a unit, recognizing your own strengths, your own weaknesses, how to overcome it. But work rate is a huge thing, and it says that, in order to achieve anything, you need to work hard to do it. And that transfers over to, and knowing how to lose as well.
You're always going to lose, so you can't win everything. And even in my business now at the moment, I can't win all the meetings or all the clients I want, and I can't do business with all the clients I want. But I guess one thing fundamentally why I went back in this year to coach the year at least. With,
you're coaching?
Yeah, I went back in as a selector with Graham Leach, a former player, and Aaron High, who played with Loud and was on second. My little boys are 4 and 2. And ever since I broke my wrist, arm and elbow in an accident against Clotterhead, I haven't played football. Yeah. So I felt time was to go back in and try and give back to the lads. Okay, will they listen to me or not? Maybe they won't, maybe they will. But I played senior football for 10 years. I've been with the club 20 years. But I also want to see my 2 young boys, me either on the pitch not playing but coaching and seeing football and seeing Gaelic and seeing some sort of sports. So that was one of my main factors by going back.
Brilliant. So manager, I don't know much about football managers or soccer managers, but Brian Clough or Alex Ferguson?
Alex Ferguson for me. I haven't read into Clough too much, but Alex Ferguson is my era.
Yeah, he's your and United, of course, but
of course,
you just need to be careful of some of your players kicking football boots at you if they're not happy with you.
Well, that's it. I'm more to be kicking at me lads when they start playing football.
Yeah, so, and you mentioned there that you've started a networking group. I saw come up in Limor there recently, and it sparked I need to get back in touch with Keith to get him on mono and mono. The way, the approach you have towards it, which we'll get into now, I think is a brilliant way of doing it. Sometimes, it's a term we used to have when we were in the rugby, like when you go on your pre-season trips and they'd organise an event for the team. Oh lads, this is going to be fun. So we call it forced fun, where it's not necessarily great. It comes from a good place, but it doesn't. And sometimes a networking event set up by organisations or governments are a bit like that. They're there to improve your network for people to get on and share ideas and that, but it's forced and it doesn't happen in the way that it should. And I think the approach you're looking at is more natural, where people can come and they can be in a comfortable environment and feel free to speak and get involved and genuinely build relationships, which can lead to improved network and business, etc., etc.
Yeah. When I set up the business 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I stepped outside my comfort zone and was trying to go to these network events. And even though I've been in banking and I've been in hedge funds for 13, 14 years, but I didn't have to ever step foot into a network event, into a local chamber or a local enterprise office. So I've been part of a network group up in Dundalk, which has been very good, and it's based on education. And then I felt, but I was giving up, I wasn't getting a huge amount of business contacts back through. So I've been to all the other local events that people can think of, and you went to, not to mention names, but feels, as you said, forced and staged, and you never get to speak. You have to listen, and maybe they don't bring you in as much. So I've been talking about this for about 6 months, maybe longer, and I just, through meeting people through the business and going out there in different network events, and I could maybe speak to different people and highlight and see other people, they were feeling uncomfortable in the situation. So I said, you know what, that's not going to happen. So I've recently set up a new network group, Drogheda Business Network, DBN as such. There's no one owns it. It's non-profit, no cost. If we do have to cover costs of a room at the moment, the O'Reillys have kindly given us upstairs room there to leverage and to launch this. And we're looking for like-minded individuals that don't necessarily own their own business, but are looking to educate, communicate and collaborate between each other. So I'm trying to get 15, 20 people into a room, and everyone has a voice. Everyone gets to speak and everyone gets to listen to your business and how we can help. And that's kind of where I'm going. Well, I said to you earlier on, I said to the girls last night, one of the girls who owns a bespoke wedding company, I said everyone's going to do a 60-second pitch, and it's about being uncomfortable in a comfortable environment.
There you go. That's a hell of a pitch.
Yeah, well, I think it's I'm sure you've gone to plenty of them over the last year or two, and I guess the nature of you would probably be something similar to me, but you even at a different level is you'd be confident going in. You've been in uncomfortable situations in sport and wise, and I guess it's a different uncomfortable going into a business situation, and maybe all it takes is someone maybe to come over and say, come on in here, like tell me about yourself, or instead of you being last, maybe you go first.
Yeah.
And feeling like you're involved or part of the group straight away when not on the outside a wee bit. So That's what I want. I want everyone to be involved from day one, and for the group to run it itself. I don't want to be, there's no owner or treasurer. I just want it to be, you know, a kind of force to be reckoned with in the years to come. And we're looking at giving back. I was in with the St. Joseph's School already, and again, this is where I think even you go back to the St. Olivers and stuff like that. We're trying to get people involved that were in schools in the town, and go in and speak to the fifth years and CEO and speak to them saying, as professional sports person, what does it take to be there? What do they need to do? Like, or even to own your own company, Limor. What does it take? What would you advise people to do? What courses would you advise them to take? So they actually have, from fifth year, they're looking at the long term picture, how to get there for the next 2 years.